Hey everybody, time for another Monday Movie Review. This one's going to be about a buck wild fucked up movie from the guy who made like a 4 hour food documentary that was full of garbage. Um, Person goes by the name of Craig McMahon, not related to the WWE McMahons. About as an awful person as Vince McMahon, uh, in my opinion. And yeah, so the name of the movie is A Time for Heaven, and it basically boils down to a nurse committing a shit ton of ethical violations and legal violations. Someone put it in the Discord server we watched this in. Uh, who I do believe who said it was Jem, my patron, was like medical malpractice the movie. And the trivia. This is what's really fucked up. This is based around a story of an actual nurse, like an actual person. And the real nurse that this was based on was fired from position for breaking patient confidentiality. And who boy. And then, oh yeah, there's a fucking bandage. This is another thing I didn't mention in the first time recording this. The fucking patient that doesn't do jack shit in this fucking movie except lay in a fucking bed and get up a few times has a bandage on his head, and like there's no explanation why it's on his fucking head. Like, it's not like, oh, he fell and cracked his head. Maybe they said it when we were fucking shitting on other parts of the movie. I don't fucking know. But he just, dude comes with a fucking bandage on his head that has fucking safety pins, which no medical professional would do that, presumably because it's fucking dangerous to have pins near fucking bandaged area. Also, because there's adhesive bands, some adhesive bands that are available. So yeah, the basic story of this fucking awful bitch ass fucking movie, which is on Tubi if you want to watch it. Hey Tubi, fucking come me a check. I'll fucking pimp out. I'll pimp out your fucking streaming service. Um. So yeah. So nurse. It's very unclear. Okay, so there's a fucking client, a patient, in the very beginning of the movie that is pointed out to have called a Hispanic person the N word, and fucking for real, like, because a black supervisor tells this lady, like the fucking main lady, oh hey, because she comes up and is like, what the fuck does this mean? And it's like a red tag, a red flag or whatever. It's like, what the fuck does this mean? It's like, oh, they mention that, oh yeah, this old dude fucking called a nurse a fucking N word, the N word. And the fucking the nurse main character is like, but she's Hispanic. Like, I shit you not, that is what they fucking said. And then they go on to like another patient, and I'm not sure if it's the same patient as threw the fucking N word around or not. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but fucking Jesus Christ Almighty. Um, so goes to this patient's house as a home health aide or something, home nurse of some description, is just really fucking judgy about this old dude, and like the dude's really shut off from like everything, mainly because he wants to die, I guess. Uh, um, fucking, and this lady's just digging and digging, like just pecking and prodding at this fucking dude. Uh, and throughout this whole movie, there is no fucking, showing of medical practice going like no nurse behaviors or practices are shown in this fucking movie where a lot of it takes place at the bedside of a fucking patient and they don't show like any of the techniques that are used by nurses or other professionals. uh and like I'm not a professional, like I'm not a nurse, I've never been a nurse, I don't think I could be a nurse. Sure, she couldn't be a nurse for like hospice care and those kinds of things because I feel like I would get burned out pretty quickly. But my mother worked in those environments, and I, you know, I'd experience that. I'd go to her work or whatever, and just like there's so many things that nurse practitioners and nurse assistants and stuff like that what they do, and none of it was showcased in this movie. Um, like not like moving people in the bed so they don't get bed sores. Uh, like none of the fucking uh, like equipment that is used in those kind of situations were used in the throughout the fucking movie. It's just like this lady annoying the fuck out of this dude who just wants to die, and she just keeps prodding, and she's like looking around his house or whatever when he's fucking sleeping, and like just looks at finds this clipper like this clipping or whatever from a newspaper, like reads it, and then sends her on a fucking like find his kids and other people who would want to say goodbye to him type thing mission. And she goes to her supervisor, and apparently this is something she's done with other fucking people because her supervisor says like not it doesn't say no like you've done this before and just no. She fucking was just like, here, this is the last time, and gave this person's personal records over to this fucking deranged lady. Fucking, and she goes on this journey, like hiring a private investigator to get all this fucking information and shit. And she makes the assumption because of like where like kids were born or whatever that she was this dude's adopted, like he adopted her out to another family, and like it's a whole fucking thing. One of the weirdest things is like, so apparently the actress or the person was like she went to South Africa to college. Like she went to, and we figured it out because like I watched this with a group of people in a Discord server. And we kind of worked it out that she went to college in South Africa during like the later parts of apartheid, which is fucked up. Um, but like she goes, I like this fucking again. Like she thinks she's this dude's daughter, is trying to find her brother, violates so many fucking laws like to find this information out. There's like a subplot where she's getting stalked by this like dude who might not be all there, and like it's not ever really resolved. Like she shows up twice and then just goes away. uh and so like she hires someone who to work on her electrical wiring on her house because it's all kinds of fucked up, and then that person turns out to be her brother, and like so fucking insane. and like she goes to her brother's like cabin in the woods on like in the mountains, and it turns out her fucking car got fucked up somehow. And obviously it's heavily implied it's God working mysteriously to have that's all the shit. And like she didn't have a jacket in the car, even though she was going up in like the mountains, and it was like snowing out. And she's like all freezing and shit. Fucking and like when this thing's happening with her car being broken down, like there's a time, like a timer basically going down, not on screen, but like she has to get back before like her dad dies and has this conversation and all this other bullshit. And it's like the least tense movie, like because it's just that awful. It's just that out of fucking place with all this other shit, this dumb, like overly preachy horse shit. Like she goes on this fucking tirade against her mom because she didn't tell her that she was adopted, but they flash back and she's like a fucking full ass kid. She's like old enough to where she would have remembered this, and I think they bring like it's brought up that she blocked it out, but like her sister, who I swear to God is older than the fucking nurse character because she looks older, says like, "Am I adopted to her fucking like her mom?" And it's like you would have known whether or not I or I guess, but like that your sister was adopted because you would have been old enough to see it. Fucking so much dumb shit. And her adopted dad died recently, like before the movie, and this lady's in her 50s and she's having this fucking pissy little squat, like she's having this little temper tantrum at her fucking adopted mom and whatever, and fucking it's all fucking meaningless. Like the end of the movie is just like fucking like the Roseanne opening sequence where it's just like a camera spinning around instead of like being like sat at the table and the camera moving around. It's like it's like outside the table, spinning around the table, showing everybody. Fucking yeah. Also, like it's mentioned that this dude, like the dude who's dying, has a DNR, which for those you don't know is a do not resuscitate. I should probably do that eventually at some point. I don't know how you go about getting it to like sign a DNR. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about this fucking movie because dumb as shit. If you have spare money, and by spare money I mean like everything's paid for, you're comfortable, and you just have like $1 or two you want to throw my way, you can patreon.com/resonatorzen. Also have a Cash App if you don't want to fucking you know pledge on Patreon. It's money symbol Resonator Zen. Um, yeah, that's about it. Pass out. Peace out, everybody. Have a wonderful fucking day. Except for the people who made this movie, because Jesus Christ, that is some preachy bullshit.